I'm Aaron Bernstein, and this is part 2 of the Circle of Fifths. In the previous video, part 1, we looked at all the sharp major scales. This time we're going to go down the stairway to 7 and look at all the flat scales. So by now, you should be familiar with how major scales are put together, whole steps and half steps, and how to use solfege. So if you're up to speed, let's continue. To review, we're going to take the Circle of Fifths and stretch it out into a staircase with the key signatures on each step. This is the stairway to 7, and in part 1 we went up the stairway to learn all the sharp scales. Now in this lesson, we're going to go down the stairway to learn all the flat scales. At the end of the lesson, we're going to wrap the staircase back up into the circle of fifths. We're going to continue using solfege, the set of syllables that'll help us keep track of all the whole steps and half steps. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And keep in mind that only mi, fa, and ti, do are the half steps. Everything else is whole steps. Okay, just like last time, we're starting with C major, no sharps or flats. Take a look at the top left of your screen, and this window shows our key signature, which for the moment has no sharps or flats. That's for C major. And to the right of that, there we are on the top stair on the stairway to 7. Now, because we got all the sharp scales, what we're going to need to do is head down in the opposite direction to get all of the flat scales. All right, we're going to get our first flat scale. Now this time we need to start on our top do and go down 5 notes like this. Do, ti, la, so, fa. So fa, or F in this case, is going to become our new do. So we're going to make an F major scale. So we take all the notes above F and scoot them down. All right, and here's our F major scale. Let's listen to it. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now you might have noticed that something sounds a bit off, and it's probably one of our half steps. Let's check them. Do, re, mi, fa, and there it is. There's the problem. The letter names A and B, that's our mi and fa, should be a half step, but as you can see, they're a whole step. So in order to fix this, we have to take the fourth note, fa, and move it down a half step. That means that the fourth note, B, became B flat. And now we've got our mi, fa half step right where it should be. Now let's look higher up on the scale and check ti and do, and indeed, they make a half step. E and F are just fine. So remember the fourth note, fa, that's always going to be the newly flatted note. So F major has one flat and it's B flat, and here are all the names. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. Now look at your top left to the key signature, and we're going to add that B flat onto the treble staff and the bass staff. One flat, that's F major. And then glance over to the right, and we've now hopped down one step on the stairway to 7. All right, next flat scale. We start on the top do, and we go down to fa. Do, ti, la, so, fa. As you can see, this time our fa is B flat, and that's going to become our new do. This is going to be a B flat major scale. So we take everything above B flat and move it down. Now, as you recall from the previous lesson, do and do have to be the same. If our do is B flat up here, then it needs to be B flat down there. All the B's are still flat. Okay, let's take a look at this scale, and you can probably tell what's wrong with it. Ti, do look just fine, and they sound fine because they make a half step. But mi, fa are going to sound a little weird, and that's because they don't make a half step, they make a whole step. So once again, we take fa, our fourth note, and move it down a half step. So this time, E went flat. So E flat is our new flat note. B's and E's are now flat. And here's our new B flat major scale. B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat. And glance up at your key signature, and we now add that new E flat on. And then look to the right, we hop down another step on the stairway to 7. Next scale. Let's start at the top do and go down 5 notes. Do, ti, la, so, fa. This time fa is E flat, and that's going to become our new do. So we're going to have an E flat major scale. We move the top 4 notes down. And once again, our top do has to be the same as our bottom do. So if do is E flat here, it's got to be E flat here. Okay, once again, we don't need to worry about ti and do, they're fine, but mi and fa have to be fixed. So just like before, we take our 4th note, fa, and make it flat. This time, A is our new flat note. So now, B, E, and A are flat. E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat. There's our E flat major scale. And our new A flat shows up in the key signature. We're up to 3 flats now. And glance over at the stairway to 7, we've hopped down another step. Okay, next scale. Do, ti, la, so, fa. This time fa is A flat, so we're going to make an A flat major scale. So we move everything down. Keep in mind that E's and B's still have to be flat. There we go. And B still has to be flat. And A flat is our do up there. It's got to be our do down at the bottom too. Okay, don't even worry about ti and do, but mi and fa have to be fixed. So fa, our 4th note, goes flat again. This time it was D flat. That's our new flat. So here's A flat major. A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat. And our new flat is D flat, so there it is in the key signature. We're up to 4 flats now, and we hop down another step on the stairway to 7. All right, let's keep going. Do, ti, la, so, fa. This time fa is D flat, so we're going to have a D flat major scale. Everything up here moves down. Remember that A's and E's still have to be flat. All right, E is still flat. And our do is D flat. Okay, all we have to do is fix mi and fa. Fa, our 4th note, goes flat. This time it was G that went flat. So we have D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat, C, D flat. 5 flats now. So our new flat was G flat, and there it is in our key signature. And over on the right, we hop down yet another step on the stairway to 7. All right, we've made it down to 5 flats, which means we just have 2 more steps to go down on the stairway to 7. Now we've used up all of the black keys, which means now we're going to start encountering white key flats. All right, here's our previous scale, D flat major, and we start up on the top do. Do, ti, la, so, fa. So fa is G flat this time. We're going to make a G flat major scale. Everything on top goes down. All right, B's are still flat, A's are still flat, and of course, because this is G flat major, G's are still flat. Okay, ti and do looks good, but mi and fa are a whole step. So once again, we take fa, our 4th note, and make it flat. So this time it's going to be a C that goes to C flat. And yes, indeed, we do have to call this C flat. You might be wondering, why can't we call it B? It would be so much easier. Well, let's take a look at the letter names and see what happens if we try to call this B. G flat, A flat, B flat, B, D flat, E flat, F, G flat. Most of the letters are okay, but we have a B flat and then a B, and then we skip C altogether and go to D flat. Now these are all the right pitches, but the spelling is wrong. It's a diatonic scale and we have to have 7 different letter names. So we can't duplicate a letter name. So we have to call it G flat, A flat, B flat, C flat, D flat, E flat, F, G flat. And then we have a properly spelled G flat major scale. All right, you can see the only thing that isn't flat is F, but not for long. So our new flat was C flat. We're going to add that to our key signature. 6 flats, just 1 to go. And then we hop down to our penultimate step on the stairway to 7. All right, last flat scale. Do, do, ti, la, so, fa. This time our fa is C flat. We're going to have a C flat major scale. So we move everything on top down. Okay, so E's are still flat, D's are still flat, and our do is C flat, C's are still flat. Okay, you know what to do. It's fa, our fourth note, that has to go flat. Fa is F, and we've got to turn it into F flat. And that's how we have to spell it. So here is our final flat scale, C flat major. C flat, D flat, E flat, F flat, G flat, A flat, B flat, C flat. Everything's flat. So F flat was our final flat. There it is in the key signature, 7 flats. And we hop down to our very last step on the stairway to 7. That's it. We made it all the way down the stairway to 7. Let's zoom out now and see the entire staircase, including the sharp scales we learned in part 1. Now, as promised, let's wrap this staircase back into the circle of fifths and watch what happens. There we can see C major all the way at the top. Now if we go down the circle to the right side, we encounter the sharp scales, G major, D major, A major, and so on, adding a sharp to our key signature each time. All right, back up to the top to C major now. And if we go down the circle to the left side, we encounter all the flat scales, F major, B flat major, E flat major, and so on, this time adding a flat to our key signature each time. But now look at the bottom of the circle of fifths, and you'll see that there's some overlap. You notice that B major overlaps with C flat major, F sharp major overlaps with G flat major, and C sharp major overlaps with D flat major. These are called enharmonic scales. This means that they use the exact same pitches, but we just name the pitches differently. For example, F sharp major and G flat major use the same notes on the piano. Let's go to the map. Here's F sharp major again, and it's spelled like this: F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F sharp. But we could just as easily respell all these notes and call this a G flat major scale. G flat, A flat, B flat, C flat, D flat, E flat, F, G flat. So both scales have the exact same pitches, we just choose to spell them differently. So that's why we folded the stairway to 7 back into the circle of fifths. If you go far enough down either side of the circle of fifths, you start to get some overlap and you find the enharmonic scales. Congratulations, we just made it through the circle of fifths, and we're still alive. So what you'll want to do now is practice making all these scales on your piano. Use pennies or buttons, ideally something with different colors, so that you can recognize where the half steps are and keep track of them. I'm Aaron Bernstein, and thank you so much for joining me.